sure you got to see some of their game yesterday. It looked like the guards were the strength of their team. Can you talk about the challenges that the NC State guards will give you?
I think they can all score at every position. You said that the guards are kind of leading their team, but I think that they can all score at every position on their team, and they're very explosive, and so we just have to stay disciplined on defense.
Joaquin in the back.
Joaquin Sanchez with Sporting News. Brooke, it's called March Madness for a reason. You see all sorts of upsets. What's it like for you guys to be past the first round and take a breath there, getting ready for the second round now?
It's great to get past the first round. UCA was a tough team, and it's like you said, it's March Madness. There's a lot of upsets, and so we can only celebrate for a few minutes, and then we have to be focused for the next game. And so I think we're focused and getting ready for NC State tomorrow.
Go ahead, please.
Sydney Rubin, the Daily Texan. Joyner, Coach said yesterday that you've been practicing especially well the past few days between the Big 12 tournament and now. What kind of changed for you? What specific things are you working on?
I know going into the tournament we had to have a different mindset than we came out of the Big 12 tournament with. So just going in, practicing hard, and keeping everybody accountable for anything that any let-offs that we have in practice, just knowing that everybody's going to keep each other accountable and keep each other lifted up. And so I knew that we had to have a different mindset going into the tournament.
Now that you have one tournament game under your belt, do you feel any different about tomorrow's game?
No, like we said, just taking it one game at a time. So, like Brooke said, UCA was a very tough team, and we all played hard, and we ended up winning. So just taking this one game at a time and reviewing the scout and getting ready for the next team that we're about to play.
Jim, go ahead.
Jim Fortuna with the Associated Press. Brooke, one of the advantages for the top teams in the women's tournament is that you get to play on your home court. You did it last year, got it again this year. Just how big of a difference is that for you? Also knowing that your opponent tomorrow has gone on the road and picked up some big wins against some tough teams. They're battle tested on the road.
Well, I think for us it's just another opportunity to play in front of our friends and family and our fans, and it's just a great atmosphere when you get to play at home. You work all season to play at home, and so I think getting to play here for us was a big thing, just to be able to play in front of our friends and family one more time. And then NC State has had some significant wins on the road, and so I think we just have to stay focused on our game plan, and I think that'll be good for us going into tomorrow's game.
Go ahead, Rick.
Joyner, in high school, you obviously never played past February. Was it a challenge, a physical challenge, to play in mid-March? And if so, what did you have to do to re-energize yourself?
Like said, I never played past February. It is something new to me, but I've pretty much adjusted pretty well. I know my teammates, they've been telling me just take it all in and enjoy the experience. So just going in with a different mindset, like said, a different mindset to practice, a different mindset to the games. And, it has been tough, but we've been able to do as much recovery as we can.
Jim, go ahead.
I'd like to just follow up on that. Physically though, how have you held up with the longer season and just being able to run up and down the court, game after game later in the year?
We've had our strength coach is always talking about recovery, just eating right and taking care of our bodies and getting rest. So just making sure I focus on that, and being a young player here, I didn't really focus on that when I was back at home. So making sure I really just pay attention and tune into what he's saying and do the things that he's asking me.
Andrew in the back.
Andrew Snicker, Joyner, what was that first tournament experience like for you going into the first tournament game? And after getting that done, does it make it easier for tomorrow?
The first tournament experience talking about yesterday? It was great. We have been practicing for quite some time now, so it was good to get out there and, like Brooke said, play in front of our fans and on our home court because we have practice all year to play here and host here. But going into the game yesterday, we had a game plan and we executed it and we actually pulled out the win. And so going into tomorrow's game, we have a different game plan, and so just keeping it one game at a time and not trying to look ahead.
Go ahead, Jim.
Joyner, after the first round, you're going to have a very different physical matchup with North Carolina State than you did with Central Arkansas. What kind of challenge does that bring? What do you have to prepare for against a bigger lineup?
Knowing that majority of the 4 players that I've been guarding, they're more versatile. Like they can pop out and shoot the 3 now. So just making sure I stay sound and making sure I stick to the scout and play tendencies very well, extremely well. I think that's one thing that I have to really focus on is playing my opponent's tendencies.
Joaquin in the back.
Joyner, I know you guys, the goal for this team is to make the Final Four. How much does Coach talk to you guys about staying in the moment and not overlooking anybody?
I think right now that is kind of our motto besides all the other like hashtags and stuff we have. But for right now, I think that like just taking it one game at a time and not looking ahead has been a great motto for us, because I think when we take it one game at a time, we don't look ahead and we just focus on the team that we're about to play and then execute the game plan. And then if we win or whatnot, we move on from there.
Was there any celebration after yesterday's game, or was it just business right now?
I think it's a little bit of both. So I think we celebrated a little bit, but we got straight to doing recovery things and getting our bodies ready for tomorrow.
Cliff in the back.
Yeah, Cliff Thornton, KTVC TV here in Austin. Brooke, this tournament can get grueling, more and more grueling as it goes. The better teams you play, the more minutes you start to play. Because of that, how important is it to have a game like you had yesterday, whenever you guys take complete control early, and that allows key players to rest and to keep the minutes down early in the tournament?
I think it's always good to get all of your players playing time, especially a first round in the NCAA tournament, just so they can get a feel, new players and players who haven't really just played on this level. And so I think that it was good to get them playing time, and it was good for, not saying that UCA wasn't a good team, because they were, but we just kind of followed the game plan, and when you follow the game plan and you execute like you're supposed to, it kind of opens up for other people to get playing time, and I think that was good for our players.
Rick, go ahead.
Brooke, you played in the Sweet 16 your first 2 years of college. Does that experience benefit you at all this year, knowing that you've done this before?
Well, I think it kind of just gives you an idea of what you have to work for and how hard you have to work just to get past any game, first round, second round, whatever. But it also teaches you to stay in the moment. So we kind of just have to focus on tomorrow's game, because we're not to the Sweet 16 yet or anything like that. So we're focused on the game tomorrow.
Additional questions for the Texas student athletes? Jim, go ahead.
Protecting the home court late in the season wasn't so easy to do. Lost a tough one to Baylor. Got surprised, I think, by Iowa State. Just how did that come about, and how do you flip that to be able to say, okay, we're at home. We own this court.
I think that we just had a rough patch in the season. Every team goes through it, and so we're past those losses. But we know that right now it's win or go home, and so just playing on our court and just going out there and executing, playing together. We just have to focus on that.
Coach Jim Bertino of the Associated Press. Different physical matchup for your team this time. Do you have to say to them, look, the rebounds aren't going to come as easy. Their defenders are going to be faster than we faced in the last game. Any kind of talk about that at this point?
I don't think you have to explain that to our team. The schedule was, aside from Big 12 play, the schedule was tough enough that they understand the level of play that we're playing at, and they understand the moments, and there wasn't a lot of conversation about that this is going to be tough or it's going to be tougher or anything like that. I thought our players did a really good job yesterday. Even though there are things we could have done better, when you look at some of the scores and you see teams struggle, almost half of our team had never played an NCAA tournament game. And when I reflected last night when I got home, I thought, the freshmen didn't look that bad for it to be their first game. So, they played in the moment yesterday, and I thought they did a pretty good job of that, and they understand what's ahead of them tomorrow.
Joaquin in the back.
Hi, Coach Joaquin Sanchez with Spectrum
Hi.
News. This is exactly why you played such a grueling schedule, right, to begin the season, is just for these moments?
I think the thing that the schedule did and does for you, including Big 12 play, is that I'm not sure that there'll be a team that will play, obviously starting with the one we played yesterday and then the one we'll play tomorrow, that we haven't seen something you can compare it to. And that's the thing that I like about playing a variety of opponents and really tough opponents, is that when you run across a team in NCAA tournament play that maybe you haven't seen that style or whatever, then it becomes tough. And I'm not sure that there's a style that we haven't seen or a type of team that we haven't seen this year. So I think that's a benefit that we can give some comparisons for our players.
Cliff in the back.
Hey, Coach Cliff
Hi.
Bolton, Fox 7 Sports here in Austin. There's been some talk about how yesterday's dominant performance allowed you to play a lot of people and get some tournament experience. But the flip side of that, how much does it help to be able to keep minutes down on your starters and some of your key players at the very beginning of this tournament to keep them fresh for the end?
I think it was probably just more beneficial that everybody got their feet wet, especially considering there were a lot of players on our team that had not played in an NCAA tournament game. I think that it was positive for them to get minutes and even go through kind of the bad moment in the third quarter, but that whole group, I was able to reset at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and I thought they played some pretty good basketball in the fourth quarter. So just a lot of teaching moments that you always can use as you move forward. I'm not sure rest matters at this point. I think it's overrated. I think teams get on runs and they forget how tired they are and they don't worry about all that. So it's probably, I don't know that it matters one way or the other. I'm sure we'll both be ready to play regardless of minutes tomorrow.
Jim?
You got a chance, I noticed you were sitting courtside for a good chunk of their game yesterday. That's got to be a little different than watching film. What, just up close and personal, scouting them, what struck you about North Carolina State?
Just a really solid basketball team, and you start as you start to get ready for an opponent. You always try to figure out what are their weaknesses and how can you attack their weaknesses, how can you try to take away their strengths and all those types of things. And the one thing that's striking about NC State is I'm not sure they have a lot of weaknesses. They do things really solidly, really well. They game plan well. You can tell when you watch them and when you scout them that they have a game plan and they're disciplined enough to follow it. So that was what was the most striking thing to me as I watched them in person.
Joaquin in the back.
Coach, I know the focus for this team, including hashtags and taglines, to make it to the Final Four, obviously. Do you have to pump the brakes a little bit now that you're in the tournament and make sure everybody focuses one game at a time here?
I think we pumped those brakes when we got back from the Big 12 tournament, and they're still pumped. So they're having an understanding, I think, based on just those experiences late in conference play of how good they were when they stayed in the moment during that stretch. And I've said that a few times here in the last week or two, but I did think that was when we were at our best, when we just talked about what are we going to do today and who are we going to be today. And we really tried to get back to that, including practice. Just what can we do today to get better? And I thought we've done a pretty good job of that.
Rick?
Rick Cantu, the Austin American Statesman. Coach, I know you've answered this before, but critics of women's basketball often say it's too predictable at the end. What is your stance on UConn's dominance and whether that's good or bad for the sport?
I mean, I don't think exposure is bad, period. So, I mean, whether it's what people perceive as negative or positive that they've won so many games, people are still talking about women's basketball, and I promise you people are going to tune in to this tournament and see what happens. So if they're bringing notoriety to our sport, then you have to appreciate that. I appreciate it as a coach.
If I can follow if they make the Final Four, they will play basically 4 home games. Do you think that women's basketball in the future to grow has got to get away from, at least in the 3rd and 4th rounds, teams not being able to play at home?
I think there's some interesting ideas being tossed around, and I guess I would like to talk about that more than I would that we don't need to be playing on home sites right now because we tried a different way. And I mean, I think this where we are right now is where we need to be. But I do think that there are some interesting ideas about putting all the regionals at one site. There's been some toss around about that, and I think there are some. You'd have to do more research probably to find out some of the ideas, but I do think that some of them are worthy of conversation, just because everything about, I think what we're trying to do is to make sure that there's butts in the seats for the young women that are performing. I mean, that's the main thing. These people, when I say people, I mean the student athletes, they put a lot of time and a lot of effort and commitment into what they're doing, and then they get to this stage and they want to play in front of people. And that's the reason why we are where we are, because you don't want an empty gym. I don't want an empty gym tomorrow. And we worked really, really hard to get to play at home. And you guys have done a great job of getting it out there at the Statesman, and I think we've done a better job this year in marketing and everything that's on our side to get the community to be knowledgeable about what we're doing yesterday and tomorrow. And I was very, very impressed with the crowds that we had on Friday. It was St. Patrick's Day. It was the middle of the day, and I thought we had a terrific following yesterday, and I'm expecting that tomorrow. And that's what this is all about right now, is that you want those young kids to play in front of a crowd. And if that's what has to happen in Bridgeport, then that's where we are right now.
Andrew, go ahead in the back.
Andrew Snicker, KXAN here in Austin. The players may not get to do the fight song tomorrow, but this is the last of.
It is. It is.
For these seniors, I know you talked about finding those leaders that kind of steer the ship. What have Ariel and Kelsey done, and have you noticed even more of a change now that we're in tournament time to lead these players?
Bree and Kelsey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't say anything about it today, and I probably won't tomorrow. So I guess they'd have to read this to know we're having a conversation. But it's bittersweet for seniors, and I think different ones handle it differently. I think this has been a struggle for them to have their last moments at home. So I'm going to stay away from that. But I know that our team will enjoy tomorrow. It'll be a really fun basketball game, and I think our team is excited about playing at home. And I know that Bree and Kelsey, it'll be a bittersweet moment for them, but it'll be fun.
Rick?
A lot was said earlier in the season about how tough your schedule was. Now looking back, do you think that all of those tough games will benefit, or is a benefit, could be a benefit from here going forward?
I almost think that stuff's over now. I mean, it's tournament play, and everybody in the country that makes the NCAA tournament pushes that reset button, and they try to forget everything that's happened, regardless of whether it was good or bad, or hard or easy. It's just there's a reset that happens with this. I think if you ask the players, they would tell you that they enjoyed every minute of it, regardless of whether they won or lost, because I think they enjoy playing in those venues that we played in. I think they enjoy playing on national television. I think they enjoy playing against the best teams in the country. So, I mean, this is all about the student-athlete experience, or that's what it's supposed to be about. And if you ask them, I bet you they would tell you that they enjoyed the journey.
Joaquin?
Coach, it's no surprise that Brooke McCarty is obviously the player to stop for you guys. How much have you noticed other teams game planning for her, and then what's that been like for you guys trying to adapt to that game plan?
It's been a bit of a chess match, and I think that it has been all year long. I wouldn't even say that down the stretch that's where we bogged down. It's been a chess match all year, in a sense of, especially once we got into conference play, teams deciding who and what they were going to try to take away. And Brooke has obviously been the focus on a lot of people's game plans. I do think that, and I think I said this earlier, we made some adjustments after the Iowa State game that I thought were really good at K-State, We didn't necessarily make some of the shots, but I thought we made the adjustments that were necessary. And I thought we played better and looked more confident. So, again, there's not anything we haven't seen. I mean, we have absolutely brilliant coaches in the Big 12. They're going to challenge you every night, especially because we play each other twice. So that second time around, you better be ready for someone's best shot intellectually. And it's really challenged us to be better. So nothing will surprise this team that we see, I mean, regardless of what it is.